Hey everybody, it's Carey Davis, the face for radio, right here in the Work Harder studios. It's stop complaining, work harder. We're going to do a quick episode because I got some great feedback from one of the viewers that I want to discuss, and it'll be a good opportunity to bring out some reality that I haven't discussed in the past. But before I do anything, go ahead, please hit the like, subscribe if you want to, hit the button, ring the bell, do whatever you got to do. The more you give me feedback, the more you interact with these videos, the more they get passed around, the more people get to see them. And like I said, my only goal is to help new people, new supervisors, new managers, so they don't make the same mistakes I did. So let's get started. I got some great feedback on my bailiwick, short. Bailiwick is a great thing, and the point I was trying to make is people use bailiwick to say, that's not my bailiwick. In other words, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. The point of the point of bullshit bingo is not that someone was saying, that's not my job, but that it did it in quite possibly one of the douchiest ways possible by using a word that people who speak English simply don't use unless they're watching some kind of science fiction movie. Okay, so bailiwick, not a normal word for human beings to use. But in DC, you'll hear it bandied about on a regular basis. But I give credit to Skitch8616, who sent me a quick note and talked about when an employer asks an employee to do something that they weren't supposed to do or was beyond the job and doesn't want to pay them more for it, then you're a shitty employer and you should pay them a fair, livable wage. Okay, and then he finished by saying I was a crappy manager and I should take responsibility. I should quit gaslighting people and I should take responsibility for my own failures. So a lot to unpack there, but the real issue is that Skitch and a lot of you out there, particularly the younger generations, and I hate to be the old guy, but it's true. You haven't learned the reality that everything they taught you in college is bullshit. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. When people go to college and they take liberal arts courses, and universities in the U.S. anyway have a core curriculum where they make you take these things. A lot of theories on that. I could say it's indoctrination, but I won't get into those kind of politics. But one way or the other, in these liberal arts courses, the professors tell you about how horrible America is and about how horrible the capitalist system, and that people who look like me and have my genetics ruin the world and destroyed everything. And before you call me a fascist or a Nazi or an old white man, which is true, that last bit, let me tell you, this is not a political statement. This is me educating you on reality. And if you don't like it, comment. Send me all the comments you want. Tell me every negative thing about what I'm about to say, because I'll just preemptively tell you, you're wrong. This is the reality of life. I need all of you people under the age of 50 and several of you over 50 that live in the Seattle and New York areas to listen to me very closely. There is no such thing as a living wage. There is the wage you negotiate with your employer. Everything about life is a negotiation. And I don't care if you're in a capitalist society or a communist society. I will explain that in a moment. Everything's a negotiation. When you apply for a job, you're asking to go and perform services for a company or a person, a business owner, whatever that entity is. And in exchange for that, they will give you money and maybe benefits. You have the opportunity to negotiate how much money they're going to give you. You have the opportunity to negotiate what benefits you might get. If they don't offer a sufficient package in salary or benefits or both, you, as a free human being, particularly if you're watching this in the United States of America, you as a free human being have the absolute right to say, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that job, and then go look for employment elsewhere. Someone who can give you the salary and or benefits you require. If you feel like you're trapped in a job, quit. Move on. If you can't afford to quit or move on, That's a you problem. You made that mistake. And I can say that because I've been trapped in jobs before. I'm not here judging anyone or saying I have done these things before. I I screwed up when I went to college and I studied history, which, unless you're going to be a teacher or a researcher, neither of which I wanted to be. I just liked watching history shows. There was no History Channel back then, but I loved history, reading all that. I thought it was something I could do well at, and I didn't, but that's what I studied. Outside of those few professions, it's worthless. And so that brings me to the other point. Your value to a company or an entity or a business or the government is what you bring to the table. And I want to tell you a story so it kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. Let's say you graduated college and you want to relive your glory years and do some keg stands and run around and chase girls, do whatever, I don't know, but you want to relive your glory years, so you're going to have a reunion party for everybody you went to college with. Oh, if any of my European or British friends are working, that means university. We just say college in the U.S. So anyways, you're going to have this party. You want to have entertainment. And you've come into a great deal of money lately. That's fantastic. Good for you. So you want to get the best performer you can. So, and I'm an old man. I don't know a whole lot about modern popular culture. Could care less. But I see Taylor Swift's name on everything. So let's say you decide to call Taylor Swift's booking agent and see if that entertainer can come and work your party, do a concert at your party, say an hour. And they give you a figure. They say, this is how much it costs for Miss Swift to come and perform at your party. And that's going to be an astronomical number. And then they're going to say, plus she needs travel expenses. She needs a hotel room. And by the way, it won't be a cheap motel. It's going to be a very expensive motel. And she needs several other things that are going to cost you a lot of money. Now, you just came into a big sum of money, so you don't care, but that's great. You do think it's a lot of money and a lot of effort just to have someone come sing for an hour at your concert. So you decide that you're going to check out your options. So you go down to the local club, whatever that means, a bar, a coffee shop, a nightclub, whatever, and you ask the owner, which entertainer, which local entertainer is your biggest draw? And they say, well, it's this person. So you go and you talk to that person. You say, hey, I'm throwing this big party. How much would it cost me to have you come perform for an hour at the party? The number they give you is going to be significantly lower. Significantly lower. Now, why is this? Why? And if you don't think you can book Taylor Swift, if you got the money, you call her booking agent and you say, I don't care what it costs, Taylor's going to come sing at your party. That's the reality of life. That's how people in the entertainment business make their money. So what's the difference? Why is the local singer at the club so cheap and the most well-known entertainer in the world so expensive? Well, the person who works at the club may be every bit as talented as Taylor Swift, but they haven't built a brand. They haven't gained worldwide recognition. They're not going to be a draw for people. People aren't going to say, woohoo, we went to see Anonymous at your party because they're really big down at the local club in Poughkeepsie, New York. Nothing wrong with local entertainers. I love them. But it's not going to be that expensive. But if you say, I'm having Taylor Swift at my party, everyone who 10 minutes ago would have said, I really don't want to go to this guy's party because he's kind of lame. He was lame in college and I don't care for him. No, they're going to say, holy whatever, I got to go see Taylor Swift. It's a free concert. Woohoo. And you're going to draw them, and it's going to be one of the most memorable nights of their lives, even if the entertainment sucks, because it was Taylor Swift, because they had that cachet, that brand, the experience. So what does this have to do with you? Well, in the real world, you get compensated for the value you bring. Okay? So if you don't think you're making enough money at whatever company you work at, you need to step back and take a clear look at what value you're providing. So let's say you've got a job. Let's say you're a petroleum engineer. You went to university and got yourself a degree in petroleum engineering, which is a fantastic trade. You will be set for life. You will never have to worry about a job. And you're working for one of the big oil companies, and they're paying you pretty good money and benefits. But you look at this other oil company, and they're going to give you a whole lot more money. A whole lot more money, because their job is to make a profit, and they're going to make more money in profit than you cost them to work for them. Okay? If they pay you $100,000 a year, your added value to that company will be more than $100,000 a year. Okay? If they pay you $500,000 a year, then you better provide $500,000 worth of value. If they pay you $50,000 a year, again, you have to beat that delta. That's what they're investing in. That's what a private company does. They're in business to make money, whether you like it or not. I don't care if you're the biggest raging communist, Democrat, socialist, whatever you want to call yourself in the world. At the end of the day, a company's job is to make profit. So they're going to hire you based on the value you provide, but the value you provide has to give them more money in profit than they're paying you. That's how the real world works. So you're going to come in and they're going to say, we'd like to offer you $100,000. You've gotten your degree as a petroleum engineer. You know your value. Let's say you've got 5 years of work experience, and the new company says, we're going to give you $150,000 a year. Come work for us. We need you. And you can walk into that because you had that experience and that education. And you have a great opportunity to negotiate your salary. You can say, I know you offered me $150,000, but I really think I'm worth $175,000 plus. Your dental plan sucks. I would like to have a much better dental plan. And then they're going to come back with, well, we can't pay you $175,000. Why? Because they don't expect your value to give them that extra $25,000 in profit, plus the cushion, okay, that they need to make money. They say, but we can do better on the dental plan, or we can not have a dental plan at all and give you the $175,000, and we can work through that. Or they may look at you and say, yeah, your experience and education tells us that you're worth every penny of this. That's the negotiation you make, and you are free to negotiate that in anything you do. Anything you do. That's life. But the other side is absolutely just as free to tell you no, or set their own conditions. And then you're free then to say, no thanks, it's not going to work out. This is how life is. It's the same when you come to work for the government. The only difference is Congress has set the pay and benefit package into law. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room to negotiate your pay or benefits. I qualify for a GS whatever, and then I'm going to get the benefit package that the government offers. But it's your choice. You made the decision to come take a job that has a set benefit plan. Now, if you went to college and you did like me and got a degree that doesn't give you a skill, a usable skill in the world, or you choose to go take a profession that doesn't associate with your degree in college, you're not going to have a lot of negotiating room. You're going to walk in and they're going to say, well, we're a large pharmaceutical company. What's your degree in? And you're going to say, well, it's liberal arts. I can write the world's best paper. I don't even need AI. I can write you a paper tomorrow that is fantastic. And the pharmaceutical company is going to look down and they're going to say, well, that doesn't bring us the value we need. You're not the ideal candidate for us. So have a nice day. Now you've just lost your ability to negotiate. You have no leverage. You don't bring any cachet or any value to their table. Now maybe you go find a company whose job it is to edit paper or produce paperwork or do something that's going to allow your writing skills to flourish. Frankly, the government's a great job for you because you do a lot of writing. So then you go negotiate with that company. You apply. If they like you, you get an interview and you have the opportunity to negotiate, whatever deal you can make. And again, if you don't like the deal they're offering, you simply say no thanks. It's not the end of the world. But the most important takeaway from what I'm trying to tell all of you, and if there's anything I can get across, particularly to young people today who went to college and got told that you're going to get a degree and the world's going to be your oyster and everybody's going to bend over backwards to kiss your butt and throw money at you, you're wrong. They lied to you. No one is coming to your rescue. Let me say that again. No one owes you anything. No one will come to your rescue. You have to make it yourself. There are no guarantees in this world. No one is going to hold your hand. No one is going to save you. You have to take care of yourself. Now, you may have friends, you may have family that can help you out, but at the end of the day, if you're not the one out there hustling, getting it done, then one day your government benefits are going to run out and you're going to be writing people messages on a thing saying that you're upset that they're not paying you a livable wage. Any wage is livable because you had the opportunity to negotiate it. And if you decided to not go out and get an education, or better yet, a vocation, it's because a vocation is far more useful than an education. And sometimes universities provide a vocation. If you're an attorney, you went to a trade school, whether you want to admit it or not. Law school is a trade school because that's a trade. Okay? You're practicing law. That's a trade. Medical school, the same way. If you're an engineer, you've learned a trade. You've learned something that's real that you can do. Computer engineer, you've learned something real, and you can take that skill anywhere on the face of the earth and use it to get gainful employment or start a business and make money to support yourself. If you did something like gender studies or history or liberal arts or philosophy, I'm sorry, you got a great education, I'm sure, but you can't take it anywhere. But you can do the same thing if you go out and apprentice as a plumber for a few years. Because if you're a good plumber, you can go anywhere in the world and make money and take care of yourself. If you're a good electrician, same thing. If you're a good air conditioning repairman, just come to the South. We need you. Come on down. So the point is, think very carefully. And if you're a parent with children coming up, and this is what I did with both my kids, I said, you can go to school, but you're not taking bullshit classes. You are going to take classes that lead to something. And they did, and they're both very successful. Thank goodness. Everything's a crapshoot when it comes to kids. But, if you just throw them out there and let them take the easiest classes and do the easiest thing, they're going to wind up coming out of college and wondering why they can't get a job that pays well. Too bad. Go work for the government. Go work for the government, watch my videos, become a supervisor. But anyway, I'm really happy old Skitch sent me that message because I have a funny feeling there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. I see this in the news all the time, a living wage. Every wage is a living wage. It's how do you want to live? If you're paying for your $5,000 a month apartment, in New York, a living wage is a very different thing than if you live in an $800 a month apartment in Central Florida. And sometimes you got to move for your job. With my crappy education and my limited skills, I became successful. I went from a GS5 to a senior executive in 33 tiny little years in the government. It's not a normal thing for people to have that progression. I did it not because I was super good at anything, but because I was willing to move. Most people aren't willing to move. They got family, they got kids, responsibilities. I did too, but I packed my family up and I moved 5-6 times over the course of my career. Everybody who's in the military will tell you that's nothing. They moved 5-6 times in a decade. Anyways, because I moved a lot, I was able to meet a lot of people and I was able to take advantage of opportunities that other people didn't because I had that will. And I would do those jobs that no one else wanted to do. So instead of saying, that's not in my bailiwick, boss, I would say, sure, what do you need? I'll get that done. And so the next time you say, well, the employer's asking something terrible of me, don't be a douchebag and use the word bailiwick, which was the point of that video. It's bullshit bingo, not how to be a better boss. This is how to be a better boss. But I just want everyone watching this, everyone, I might get 50 views if I'm lucky, but still, I want everyone watching this. You're on your own. That's life. That's just how it is. You're on your own. No one will be there. Cry about it. Go home and just soak your pillow with your tears. It'll be okay. But someone's got to tell you, because your communist college professor sure as hell didn't. Now, let's finish on some bullshit bingo, like I always like to do with these. And today's word is lane. And lane as in the lane you're driving your car in. And again, this goes right along with bailiwick or wheelhouse. But what you'll hear people say is, that's not in my lane. That's not in my lane. And that's not always a that's not my job. That's saying that's not something I'm used to doing, or that's not something that I have experience in. And it's not say as douchey as bailiwick. Bailiwick is like level 8 douchebaggery. Lane is simply a way of saying, I don't know how to do that, by trying to sound smart or snarky. That's not my lane. Okay. You mean you don't know how to do this? Again, the supervisor at that point should say, well, could it be part of your lane? Can we effectively help you learn to do this job? Oh, and I got another comment on the same thing, saying asking people or telling people to do things outside their contract. That is absolutely correct. And I'm sorry, I forget the name of the subscriber that sent that. That is absolutely correct. You cannot, in the government, you can't tell people to do things that's not expressly written in their contract if they're contractors. I'm talking about government employees here. But even contractors say, that's really not my lane. Okay, well, maybe you need to go back and renegotiate that contract. Did you think of that? Maybe you need to go back to the contracting official and say, hey, I really need this person to help me out in this way, and I don't think it's too far a deviation from what the contract says, and I'm going to train them, and I'm going to help them, get to where they need to be. So, can we make this work? And you never know. And you might actually get paid a little extra for it. You never know. It's all about the negotiation, just like I was saying earlier. I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Again, like, subscribe, watch my other videos. The Face for Radio 1 is the name of the channel. Please go look at them. Maybe you'll learn something. You definitely get a kick out of the bullshit bingo sketches. With that, it's Carey Davis. I'll see you next time. Out.